There's something of a recent trend in gaming that I think just sucks, and I believe we should address it and really talk about it a little bit today. So, entitlement, the feeling that you are deserving of or expected to receive a certain outcome in a situation. It's something that I've seen very rampant in every single micro community in our gaming sphere. Whether it be the decision for Larian's devs to not add anything to the end of Baldur's Gate 3, the Helldivers devs poking fun at the metas that were developing that were super toxic in their own community, or even Dragon's Dogma 2 launching now and being locked at 30 frames for the moment, which honestly it could be changed over time. But the big problem is people have such overly negative responses to these events, and it's gotten completely out of hand. Whether it be linked to creators going so as far as being harassed by doxing and swatting happening, and in some situations things being sent to their individual workers, or just the outright negative responses that lead people to close out their social media platforms entirety. It's bullshit, to be completely honest with you. And the fact that we've allowed ourselves as people to continuously support and do that is ridiculous, when really to change it, we just have to start behaving opposite to what we've been doing, calling people out for these negative opinions or even bringing light to such things. I think that people really put their hearts and souls into these projects, and for a lot of these games they show because they're still popular or they have huge followings behind them. But the way we treat the individuals who work on these things we care about so much is just terrible. It's got to end at some point, and I think we should start doing something more readily about it. But that comes at an individual level. And, also having enough emotional intelligence to not just scream at people in comment sections back. Can't stoop ourselves to that level to combat it. We have to do it from a higher ground, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's not just in the space of gaming where I feel like fans are super entitled. It also comes in anime, the world of that. There's so many fans that are just like, hey, why didn't you make this character look this way? Because I, in my head canon, pictured them in the manga looking this way. Or, hey, why did you guys have your storyline go this way? I feel like the tone would have been better if it was this way. And it's just like, you need to stop critiquing them in a way in which you feel like, I could do it better. Because if you could do it better, you would have. I think that we just have lost the respect for the creators. And I'm not saying that they're not above criticism, because there are times when shows or games do miss the mark pretty obviously. Like, for example, let's say like microtransactions in games. Like, obviously that's not fun for anybody. Like with Dragon's Dogma 2, there are microtransactions, but they've found out that you can kind of bypass them. But the fact that they're in the game in the first place, yes, let's critique that. But the fact that they want to like bring down the entire property and boycott that because, oh, it's a microtransaction, like you can get away from that. You don't need to really just spend your money on it. So that's where the entitlement comes into, where I'm like, maybe you guys are going overboard with this. So I think it can be good when you feel entitled, but also a lot of the times it just hurts the creators and the people involved. Like the way that they probably see it, they're probably like, why would you say something so like that entitled about it? Like, you're not even part of the process at all, and you just want to give your 2 cents. It's so much easier in hindsight to say this manga or this anime would have worked better if you did it this way, because you have seen the finished result. When you're in the room doing it yourself, it's a lot harder. You can't see these things as you're working on them, and sometimes it's like their baby while they're working on it. So obviously they're going to be blinded by like the process of creating it.
That parent-like passion that Nate mentions also is kind of a two-way street, because in a lot of ways, the passion that fans have for properties, whether they be in games and anime, do drive them to these extreme emotions in the first place. And yes, I understand that when you care about something deeply, you feel that you need to say something. Look where we are. Look what I'm doing here with my boy. It happens. And I'm guilty just the same of letting my own emotions come out on the fly, and I say something fairly negative instead of saying something constructive. And there are ways that we can say constructive things. If you take the time to look up the individual companies that you're supporting, the properties that they're working on, look for surveys, look for fan questionnaires. These things happen. Marketing companies work with these big names all the time to make it so that they can tailor a product to a specific theme. So if you really care enough, there are appropriate channels to do so. We don't have to go around attacking people all the time. And obviously it's like a money where your mouth is situation. So hey, you hold us up to it and make sure that we're practicing what we're preaching here. But honestly, I feel that there is a line that we have far overcrossed that we can come back to. One where we respect the creators who are taking time out of their own lives to put together these things that we enjoy so much. And vice versa, they respect our time by doing things right, making the right decisions in their properties, and also staying true to their own vision and showing us how they perceive something. It's not all fun when everyone sees the world through my own lens. That'd be boring. That's why I like talking to people here on the channel. That's why I like sharing my opinion to risk people coming at me about my own, because at least I learned something.
So at the end of the day, I feel like we need to tread the line of entitled and ungrateful with care. We can't lean one way or the other. That's when it gets messy. The people who become ungrateful and start sending threats over video games and animated products at the end of the day. Like, what are you doing? Get a grip. It's ridiculous. We need to have more respect for everyone involved. And yes, like Chris mentioned, on both sides there needs to be some sort of respect. Creators need to respect us as consumers, and consumers need to respect them as creators. But there is a certain point where we can critique without being super mean or radical about it. So those are our thoughts on just being entitled in general within this scape of video games and media. So let us know down below what you feel on the subject. Should creators have more respect for us, or should we have more respect for them? Should we just have a fun and peaceful conversation about it all? Whatever you feel on this subject, down below, let me know. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. As always, you can subscribe down below and follow down below, all that stuff. We truly appreciate it, and we just wanted to get on here and have a little discussion. So thank you guys for listening. Until next time, be a little nicer.